My wife's PC is getting outdated. It's running into blue screens and it's having so many issues. The sound no longer works, USB ports have stopped working, and it's kind of running out of liquid, which I guess is my bad. Today, we're going to be surprising her with a brand new PC. It's completely water-cooled and full of storage because she does most of the editing for our channel. And so we have here the Singularity Computers Spectra 3, which is a very unique case, and I want to build in it today to see whether or not it is a perfect fit. And I want it to be unique. I want a lot of water cooling support because being a personal system, I need the components nice and cool. I also want it to be something that I'm super proud of. And there's something special about this case that I saw online, so I really need to give it a try. If you are sick of this watermark and not being able to utilize all of Windows features, then head on over to whokeys.com. Purchase a Windows 10 Pro key for $16 or a Windows 11 Pro key for $22. Use my code IFR25 for 25% off with loads of payment methods. Copy your code from the user center and paste it here to activate. They also provide you with a step-by-step guide and 24-hour support. It all comes in a flat pack. We're gonna have fun with this one. All right, I think I found my first issue, guys. I'm probably gonna have to manually sand these down to make them fit in the holes. Some of them fit just fine. You can see this is going in. Now, if I choose another screw from the same packet, it doesn't go in at all. So the head of it is too wide. So I'm gonna have to bring the sander out, which is a shame because I really don't want to like mess it up and scratch it all, but I need the screws to fit in.
Whoa, I love that case.
So we're missing 4 screws for the front to screw in the front window, but Amelia came in and she fell in love with it and she couldn't stop talking about it. So let's pretend I'm doing it for me, but we'll surprise her at the end. We've done loads of builds with the Z690 formula, and I think it's about time to actually retire this motherboard to a special case like the Singularity Spectra 3. And I think Amelia's gonna love this motherboard because she has the previous generation of this motherboard. It's got the water-cooled VRMs, or you can opt to not water-cool them at all. I'm not sure if we're gonna be water-cooling them or not in this build. We'll wait and see. And it's compatible with our 13th gen or our 14th gen CPU, but the main thing is it has plenty of USB-C ports, which Amelia needs. That'll be good for fast file transfers. It's got plenty of USB as well, which she really needs too. And she has some problems happening with her old motherboard, so anything new she's gonna be happy with because she's not gonna run into these problems anymore. My AMD supply of CPUs has dried up. I cannot give Amelia a 14th gen CPU because we still need them for the future builds on the channel, but the best CPU I have for her is actually the i9 13900KS. And the KS is a fantastic CPU. We want to make sure she has as many cores and threads that we can possibly give her for the video rendering times. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if her workflow is improved, it's actually going to benefit our channel significantly. And because this is a 13th gen CPU, I don't really have a use for it on the channel now with the 14th gen CPUs here. And so I think utilizing it in her workstation is going to be perfect. Now, dealing with so much footage, Amelia needs lots of space on her PC. Her computer is completely full. That includes footage. She loves taking pictures of the animals as well, so, you know, I swear a lot of the photos she has on there, she never takes a look at. She doesn't even know what she has. but I want to give her plenty of storage, especially for our workflow. So 2 8TB MP600 Pro NH drives. These are Gen 4 as well, so we got that extra speed there. And 8TB for Gen 4 is actually pretty crazy at this time of day. There's not a lot of companies who offer that. So for a total of 16TB plus a few of her older drives, she should have around 20 to 24TB. And honestly, after a filming session of filming one of our PC builds, one project could easily give us up to a terabyte of footage. Now for our water block, we got the Summit M Pro from Bits Power. The LEDs on this no longer work, so I'm actually going to take them out. They are fried. I am retiring this block from our stack over there. I'm gonna give it to Amelia. It is a solid CPU block, acrylic top, nickel plated copper, great reliable performance. It's got the water jet flow plates which direct the liquid down and into the fins. So we got some fantastic cooling out of this block as well. Now Amelia's current system has 32 gigs of RAM, and here we have another 32 gigs of RAM, which is going to go in this new system. But the difference is this is now DDR5, so we got faster speeds, better performing RAM. This is the Dominator Titanium First Edition. They are in white as well, so it's gonna match the motherboard and the whole look of the build a lot better. And I didn't have a lot to choose from in terms of white RAM, but the Dominator Titaniums, I really love the look of them, and so I'm happy to put that and pair that with the Singularity Spectre case. Now the Spectre-free case that we are going with doesn't actually have any holes in the back panel, so you don't route cables behind, which is why I don't want fan cables going everywhere. So we went with the Lian Li Unifan SL Infinity 120s in white. Again, with the case being silver, the motherboard being white, that is why we chose the white version. And with one cable coming from the fans, that's really gonna reduce any of that cable clutter, because some cables are going to be visible in some spots. So if we can reduce the cables as much as possible, it's gonna look cleaner. This fan here is also the reverse blade design, so that means that when we have intake or exhaust, I could actually have the better side of the fan facing inwards of the build, and that's the side that we're gonna be looking at, so it's gonna look better. Now the way the case works, the front panel actually has a built-in pump and the back panel also has a built-in pump, so we have the opportunity of doing a dual loop. So I was thinking of putting in 2 Pacific CLD 360 radiators, one for the GPU, one for the CPU loop. It's a 40mm thick. It actually has 5 ports on it, so we can have the potential for different tube routing and also draining if the radiator is in a hard to drain position. And with a 25 FPI, if we get enough static pressure through it, we're gonna get some really good cooling with these radiators. Now I think a 360mm radiator per component is gonna be plenty of cooling for this build, especially with how open it is. It's gonna get nice fresh air through it. So I'm expecting good things from these radiators. Now with this being a personal gaming machine for Amelia, I just wanted to make sure that she had a solid, reliable power supply. I wasn't too fussed on which one we used, as long as it gets the job done and we know it is reliable. This is platinum rated, it's 1000 watts, so it's gonna be plenty of juice for her system. And Corsair is known to make reliable power supplies, so I was happy to take this one on the shelf and we're gonna put it to good use in her build. Amelia is going to be on a multi-monitor setup. She primarily does video editing, and so we're going to go with an RTX 3090 graphics card. I actually need to keep my 40 series cards for future builds for the channel, so this is the best card that we have on offer, and she's actually upgrading from a 2060, I believe it was, back in the day when we built her PC. And so with 24 gigs of VRAM, it's going to help with the multi-monitor setup, plus all of the CUDA performance when she is doing video rendering, photo editing. It's really going to speed up her time and make it more efficient for her workflow. So this is where a few of this case's main features come into play. Singularity Computers gave me these sleeved cables, perfect length for this case. So all I have to do is plug this into the motherboard, and then it goes straight to the case. And then all of the wiring is built into the back board there, and all of our power supply cables plug in down the bottom, which will be hidden with a cover. That's actually pretty cool.
was my current setup.
The current system has 32 gigs of RAM, has an i7 8700K and an RTX 2070. So the new system's gonna be a huge upgrade, especially when we have USB ports that aren't working. We're getting blue screens all the time. The sound isn't working. And for some reason, have you been drinking the liquid or something?
It's empty.
It's empty. What's going on?
I don't know where it went.
Anyway, let's get the new system up and running. Oh my God, it fits.
It does fit? I didn't think it was gonna fit.
It's perfect.
I love it.
All right, time to see if it works. Come on, give us a signal. There we go. It works.
Yay!
About time one of our computers worked.
Woo!
After being scammed so many times on Facebook Marketplace, it's about time that we got a PC that just works.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 4K high settings, we were seeing an average of 85 to 90 FPS. The CPU does operate fairly hot in gaming, averaging around 70 degrees Celsius and the GPU around 56 degrees. Grand Theft Auto 5 4K settings maxed out, we were achieving an average of 175 FPS. The CPU was hovering around 72 degrees on average and the GPU around 58 degrees. PUBG 4K Ultra, the GPU FPS varied a lot depending on where we were on the map. On average, we were seeing anywhere from 220 to 260 FPS. The GPU sat around 63 degrees while the CPU was sitting in the high 70s, low 80s. Now PUBG is a more CPU intensive game as well, so I definitely expect that. Now please also keep in mind that I was testing on a very hot 40-degree day in a tin shed, which will drastically affect temperatures. And now, onto the final B-roll.